how's it going?
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back once again to another riveting episode of Trad Queen Story Hour. I know it's Friday night. It actually is Friday night this time. I checked. Yesterday I thought it was Friday as well, and I think that's probably because we had a short week, although I can't really explain it. Probably just a little bit of prig brain, little mom brain, getting ready to devote all my brain cells to the baby. It is raining, or it will be raining soon. It's thundering really, really hard right now. We have a bunch of lightning. So if I disappear in the middle of this is because we lost power. Sorry. And there's nothing I can do about that, unfortunately. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be exciting. We have some fun news to talk about tonight. We have some good news. We have some stupid news. And then we have more good news on the Culture Wars front. So I am excited to discuss that all with you. But I wanted to show you guys this first. This is my lithops collection. I have 3 little ones. If you're familiar with lithops, they look like little muffins. They actually look like butts. People sometimes call them butt plants, but I wanted to show you guys that they have little ones. All of them are pushing out baby butts, which is adorable. This one obviously is the furthest along. She's about to give birth. I'm really curious if I can separate them once they're out because I have no idea how that works. And then the other ones are way deep down in there. They look like little hemorrhoids. They're adorable. I love them. Lithops supposedly are kind of hard to grow, but I just put them in a pot and then I water them like next to never. And they are spreading out a little bit, so they probably need more sunlight per day. But unfortunately, I don't have a room that has more light than this one does. So that's what they get. Adrian Curry says 100% butt. They also look like muffins. Okay, give me a break. Yes, they are butt plants. I got my sister started on them too, so the world is welcome. There is another butt plant owner out there, and it's great. And they flowered a little bit ago. It's really awesome. Love it. Anyway, I love lithops. I love succulents. I love that you don't have to water them very often. That's really going to come in handy after we have kids. So I wanted to share that with you guys because every time I post something about plants, nobody ever cares. Nobody ever interacts. So I had to foist it upon you guys unawares without your consent. Ha 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 ha. I want to start with this article. It was super interesting to me, and I really wanted to ask you guys to send me pictures if this is something you're seeing at your local store. This is the title from this New York Post piece is Shoplifting Crisis is So Bad Shoppers Are Struggling to Find Non-Locked Up Items. This is nuts, you guys. You thought locking up spam was a stingy? This is a whole different kettle of fish. The shoplifting crisis plaguing the nation has become so bad that fed-up shoppers are now struggling to get their hands on even the most basic essentials, which are increasingly being stashed away under heavy lock and key. A $3.99 can of cheap meat Spam was protected in plastic anti-theft cases at the Duane Reade and Manhattan's Port Authority last summer. And now even a lousy tin of tuna at half the price is getting the same treatment at one of the chain stores in Penn Station under Madison Square Garden. The Post visited a handful of shops in the Big Apple on Friday to find a slew of low-priced items, including Dawn dishwashing liquid, $2.19, Vaseline lip balm, $2.79, kids toothbrushes, $3.99, Cadbury chocolate eggs, $4, and the $1.79 can of tuna locked in cabinets that require customers ring a bell and then wait for employees to eventually get them. This sounds like hell on earth, not just for the customers, but also for the employees, because as someone who used to work in a hospital, rehab center, and nursing homes, I know what it's like to have to run and jump when people push a button for you and how closely they pay attention to how long they have to wait. It's really frustrating. It adds an incredible dose of stress to your job. Now, in a nursing home or a rehab center, anywhere people are immobilized, it's seriously important that you answer those lights and do so as quickly as possible. But I can imagine that this just adds an added layer of frustration to working in a service industry. That is infuriating. 100%. C adds in the chat, please hit the like. Laura says like button. Everyone, Andy says, everyone please come post images in the locals chat. That's right. We have a locals chat, SourPatchLyds.locals.com. Amazing. Yes, Adrian Curry is here, whom we love. I will get her on this show at some point. Let's see what Andy has to say. Oh my. Trad Queen Story Hour streaming live. Which one of Trump's BFFs should become his running mate? Andrew Cuomo, Kim Jong-un, or Anthony Fauci? Dun, dun, dun. Let's find out. We're going to read about Trump's latest tangle with one of his BFFs. It's really interesting. At this point, I will tell you my plan for the future, but we'll get into that in a minute. I just want to show you guys what they're dealing with in pretty much New York City. Brooklyn resident Kay O'Neill, 37, stressed that shopping at some stores is now nothing but a hassle with more and more products caged up. Yeah, so here's salmon, sardines, and tuna. These things cost less than $7. And it's absolutely nuts to me that this is all behind literal lock and key, but I understand why they're doing it. I understand. This is literally a direct result of a Soros DA who refuses to actually persecute crime and get these people off the streets and make them realize that there is a price for what they're doing. Look at this entire aisle is behind sheets of plastic. I remember, I think it was in Maryland, in Frederick, when I was going through the store one night, I was like, why are the laundry detergents in like these plastic boxes behind lock and key? I did not understand that. That was like a year and a half ago. I was like, this is so weird. But apparently it's really, really bad in some places, and it's getting and is going to only get worse unless we just start, hiccups again, unless we start actually prosecuting crime. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, no way. Here's actual shaving cream. That's crazy to me. Hand sanitizer, air freshener. Currently under New York's bail laws, perps busted stealing items less than $1,000 can be slapped with a petty larceny charge, a misdemeanor that is not bail eligible. So in an attempt to make the bail system more equitable, they've made it worse for everyone, including the law-abiding poorest people in the city. Absolutely nuts. Half of those polled in the National Retail Federation survey, which was released Thursday, said police and the courts are too lenient on shoplifters. It's not going to change because they keep stealing. It's not going to stop because the economy is going down the toilet, said Brown, a retired Rikers Island corrections officer, while waiting for service at the Port Authority. Dwayne Reed. I almost said Dwayne Weed, and I'm glad I didn't. It's ridiculous. The consequences for stealing are not severe, she continued, adding she saw people run off with a whole shelf of stuff in the same store last week. When they steal from these stores, authorities hit them with a citation and tell them to go home. I've seen that too. I have seen people empty an entire shelf into a large black plastic shopping bag or garbage bag, And then they'll literally jump onto their bike, which they brought into the store, likely against the law as well, and just ride it out the door. This is actual anarchy in some of these cities. Now, Andy will tell you, he will be very quick to correct you if you say that this is a form of anarchy, but this is just abject lawlessness. And without actual systems in place, actual cultural enforcement, actual private citizens enabled to take action against this kind of crime, this is not a good form of anarchy. This is left anarchy. This is anarcho-terrorism as far as I'm concerned. This is insane that normal people should have to live this way. So, as I said at the beginning, if you see this where you live, take pictures of it and show me what it looks like, because I'm really curious how bad it gets. I really want to hear people's stories about this. So yeah, wild. New York City, Chicago, some other places like that. Not surprising to anyone who's been keeping an eye on things for sure, but still really frustrating. It's such a sign of the times. Oh, gross. I feel bad for people who live in these cities, and I can't help feeling that they need to move out if they have any money. All right, you guys, tonight we're going to go see what the heck Andy's talking about over on Twitter with this from the National Review. Donald Trump has congratulated Kim Jong-un, although he spelled his name wrong, for North Korea's admission to the World Health Organization Executive Board. So I'd just like to let that sink in. Kim Jong-un, dictator, North Korea, if you'll recall, has received admission to the World Health Organization Executive Board. So there's a lot to unpack here. First of all, we have a dictator, then we have Trump, and also we have the World Health Organization, their most important board. So let's read this article. Left, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un addresses the Supreme People's Assembly in Pyongyang, September 2022. Right, former President Donald Trump at CPAC in Dallas, Texas, August 6th, 2022, just about a month apart from each other, doing their own things. North Korea's admission to the World Health Organization's executive board was met with condemnation from a majority of Western observers. But former President Donald Trump is taking a different tack. Congratulations to Kim Jong-un. Jong-un wrote Trump on a post on Truth Social, his social media platform. The issue of countries that commit human rights abuses being given leadership roles in international organizations remains a live issue. Russia, which has committed war crimes in Ukraine, took charge at the UN Security Council in April. Yes, that is not surprising at all. The UN is especially heinous about this. They put Afghan, I believe, in charge of the Women's Rights Council or something. Wild stuff. Earlier this month, it was announced Iran, which represses its citizens, will chair the UN Human Rights Council 2023 Social Forum. And now Dr. Jong-min Pak of the North Korean Ministry of Public Health will sit on the World Health Organization's executive board until 2026. Hillel Neuer, executive director of the UN Watch, a Geneva-based human rights group, condemned the move in a statement. What this means is that one of the world's most horrific regimes is now a part of a group that sets and enforces the standards and norms for the global governance of healthcare. I don't know if you guys remember the World Health Organization from the COVID pandemic, but they are not great. People have theorized that Trump is congratulating Kim Jong-un and pointing out that he's joining the World Health Organization as a way of saying, you guys deserve each other, you get what you get, this is exactly what I expected, etc. Possibly something to that, but I will say that part of the reason that Trump kept those documents from the White House that were later raided from his home in Mar-a-Lago was supposedly because he wanted to keep a letter from Kim Jong-un, and he's very, very proud of his work with North Korea, which I don't blame him for. So I'm not fully convinced by this explanation, but I understand the desire for this to be some kind of 4D chess play. I would really like to know some of the thinking behind it, though. Presidential candidate Nikki Haley, who was Trump's UN ambassador, also derided the move. Nikki Haley says Kim Jong-un starves his own people. It is a total farce that North Korea has a leading role at the World Health Organization. Yeah, that's putting it mildly. During his presidency, Trump met with the North Korean leader 3 times in an attempt to improve relations and denuclearize the belligerent country that frequently threatens South Korea and other U.S. allies. The way my parents explained it to me was that, and this has been going on for so long, I remember talking to my parents about this when I was a kid. They said, you don't have to worry about North Korea. What they'll do is threaten other countries until we give them money, and then they'll stop for a little while until it then becomes necessary for them to do that again, because they're a communist dictatorship, and they don't have their own funds, and they have no way of making their economy work without threatening other countries. To me, that made sense. That continues to make a lot of sense. It's a pretty concise version of what North Korea has done for decades on end. Let's see here. They frequently threatened South Korea. While there was a thaw that reduced tensions on either side of the demilitarized zone and saw the remains of U.S. soldiers who died during the Korean War returned, no significant progress was made toward denuclearization. Tensions have since risen, of course, with Biden in office for sure. On Tuesday of this week, the U.S. condemned North Korea for attempting to launch its first military spy satellite using ballistic missile technology. In a CNN interview last month, Trump's former national security advisor John Bolton shed light on Trump's thinking. We don't love John Bolton, but he does have some insight in diplomacy, I suppose. Trump has had this impression that foreign leaders, especially adversaries, hold him in good regard, that he's got a good relationship with Xi Jinping, Vladimir Putin, Kim Jong-un. In fact, the exact opposite is true. I've been in those rooms with him when he's met with those leaders and believe they think he is a laughing fool. Also possible. But they also think he's a crazy laughing fool, and I'm convinced that that is what kept the peace, especially with Russia, while he was in office. That's what enabled him to go to the DMZ in North Korea. They did not know if he was going to nuke them from orbit. They had no idea. And I think that's a great way to play that game. I think that's fair. I really was shocked by how well Trump did with foreign policy. As president, Trump froze funding to the WHO and announced his intention to withdraw from the international body. Very strange then that now he would be congratulating Kim Jong-un for making it onto their executive board. It's confusing. I don't know what to make of this. You guys let me know what you think in the chat. He accused the organization of not responding to COVID-19 fast enough and helping China cover up the threat it posed. Yeah, for sure. In one of his first acts in office, President Joe Biden recommitted to the WHO and lifted the funding freeze because of effing course he did. I thought that was a really interesting twist in the political landscape. Hard to deny how fascinating that is. And I will say right now that Trump will always do the most interesting thing. And it's very hard to say that this is not it. I'm not sure why he chose to misspell Kim Jong-un's name. That was kind of interesting to me. Possibly a stylistic choice, but as far as I know, based on my own writing, spelling is not really something that you can stylize very much. It just leads to people being confused and possibly making fun of you. But again, let me know what you guys think. Adrian says total troll has to be. I don't know what else to make of this. I don't know if he's trolling. I would hate to think that he actually admires a guy who really does starve his own citizens. Like, I don't know if you guys remember Yeonmi Park, who came on Timcast IRL with us, a fantastic lady who actually did escape North Korea. Really, really tough story she would tell. Life is no picnic in North Korea, and it's because of this dude. Joseph says that's why it's trolling. Trump hates the WHO. They got Kim now. Yes, but he likes Kim. Very interesting. So I don't know. Maybe he's hoping that this will make North Korea into a more civilized country. That really doesn't make sense, though, since he dislikes the WHO so much. Really, really curious. I would like to know exactly what he's thinking. Everyone should know who is Yeonmi Park. Absolutely. That's Casey. Evening, guys. Was listening while driving home. Wonderful. Glad you could make it. JJR. Keenan says Chip Roy posted about the excess DEI and DOD. We are actually going to talk about that here in a little bit. There have been a couple positive changes in that direction, so we will discuss that for sure. I don't know if you guys know this, but I have a brother in the Air Force. I had a brother in the Marines who's then since been done with that. But I currently have a brother in the Air Force who's currently deployed with them. So it's really interesting watching, for example, Biden slip and fall at the Air Force Academy there in Colorado Springs, which is my hometown. Felt very close to home. And the speech that he gave there was really unsettling because he literally just said, it's great that white people are not involved very much. And it's great that they're becoming less and less populous, and we'll like to keep it that way because that's diversity, etc. Diversity is really starting to feel just like a code word for we hate you, go away, we don't like white people, etc. So, I don't know. Randy says least of our problems. North Korea is currently not a huge problem of ours, but as the article said, they did try to launch some kind of crazy nuclear militarized satellite or something. So they are, you know what? It's not a good idea to just rule out other things because other things are going on. Other things might be more interesting at the time, but in the meantime, in the time that we're focused on, for example, Dylan Mulvaney, I said the cursed name, we will be forgetting how important it is to, for example, get control of our national spending and actually put a limit on how much we can spend. And that's going to be a problem for us down the line. Unfortunately, we are distracted at the moment, but we do have culture wars things to get into, and I understand that is important as well. So let's switch over now to our next thing. This is from last night. A lot went down last night. After the show was over, Andy and I were trying to watch What is a Woman? We were listening to Jeremy Boring's Space on Twitter. And he was talking about what we should do in order to follow along and to watch the show and to share it ourselves. Really, really interesting. They actually got cut off in their space and they just vanished off the face of the platform for a moment, which was really interesting. And then this happened. So let's read this rundown from the Daily Wire themselves. We'll get it straight from the horse's mouth. Ben Shapiro praises Musk for keeping free speech pledge after What is a Woman is restored. So What is a Woman became completely unshareable. You could not like, you could not comment, you could not retweet. You couldn't do anything with it. But thankfully, Jeremy Boring had already retweeted it, so you could share Jeremy's tweet and kind of get the news out anyway. You could kind of get around the censorship, which was helpful. I did that a lot. I shared a lot last night. So let's read this. Daily Wire editor. Oh gosh, come back here. Zach Jewell is the author. Yes, thank you for telling us. Daily Wire editor emeritus Ben Shapiro thanked Elon Musk for the Twitter boss admitted that after the Twitter boss admitted his platform screwed up when it censored Matt Walsh's groundbreaking documentary, What is a Woman?, over so-called misgendering. Twitter labeled the document as hateful conduct and restricted its visibility, but a few hours before its release, Musk took to Twitter to insist that the censorship had been a mistake. At issue was a father referring to his own daughter with feminine pronouns despite her identifying as transgender, and a store owner addressing a hulking city councilman who also claimed to be female with a masculine pronoun. Early Friday, Twitter's tag restricting the visibility of What is a Woman was removed, allowing Twitter users to like and retweet the documentary, and Musk tweeted out the film to his 140 million followers. Thanks, Elon Musk. Overnight, visibility limits on the movie have been removed. Elon continues to work to make good on his pledge to keep Twitter an open platform, Shapiro retweeted to his nearly 6 million followers. These are really big numbers these guys have. Shapiro had previously called out Twitter and Musk, asking the billionaire to take action and back up his commitment to free speech principles. This behavior by Twitter corporate directly opposes Musk's commitment to free speech, and I sincerely hope he does something about it, the Daily Wire host said. The host also pointed out Thursday that Twitter was still limiting the reach of What is a Woman even after Musk admitted his company wrongly censored it. Twitter is now visibility limiting What is a Woman as premiering on Daily Wire's Twitter page, Shapiro tweeted. They did it within seconds of its premiere. It cannot be retweeted. Nothing has been fixed. After outcry flooded the platform, Twitter lifted restrictions on What is a Woman, and millions of people viewed the Daily Wire's post featuring the movie. The documentary released last summer was watched by people in over 70 countries, even as legacy media reviewers ignored the film and its effect on the culture. Soon after its release, What is a Woman became the most watched movie at home, according to Rotten Tomatoes, which also showed that audiences scored the film a 97% rating. In fact, I kind of want to look that up now. Let's see what Rotten Tomatoes has to say about What is a Woman. RottenTomatoes.com. Alrighty. They probably won't have anything about it. What? Where's my search bar? Oh, thanks, Apple. Thanks a lot. All right, well, I was going to pull it up. There we go. Okay. What is a woman? Oh, my. Marcy Bowers, that's not it. That's not it. Oh, yeah, it is. Okay. Goodness gracious. I couldn't remember any names. Wow, Tomato Meter gave it an 83%. 6 reviews. Audience score 96%. That is wild. That's wild. I kind of want to tell the Daily Wire about this because I don't think they know that people have actually reviewed it. People weren't just locking it out altogether. Oh, yeah, here's a splat. A film meant to sermonize to the already converted, people who are primed to see the simple existence of a trans person as worthy of laughter and contempt, rather than curiosity or empathy. This lady is named Jessie Gender, so I'm just going to stop her right there. The movie itself, the film itself, is based on nothing but actual, pure, simple curiosity. And here she is saying it's nothing to do with curiosity. Why can't people be more curious about trans people? That's literally all Matt is doing. The title of the film is What is a Woman? And he is out there looking for an answer to one question. That's literal curiosity. So this is what you get from YouTubers. So I just have to say, raise the bar, lady, not good. Here we have a review from Christian Toto, whom we love, and we talked to maybe a month ago. That was awesome. Cool. Well, I'm very glad to see that it has such good reviews. Let's see what actual reviewers have to say. Walsh takes his unflinching poker face, yes, and sharp wit into the belly of the beast in a bid to find out how a word as mundane and easily defined as woman has become a pride flag draped hot potato. The film is strongest when it isn't poking fun at trans activists or making them squirm with gotcha questions, but when trans skeptics are given the chance to speak, something too few platforms are willing to do today. I do think that's a huge strength of the movie. All he's doing is giving people a chance to tell him exactly what they think. And yesterday, Andy and I were watching it again because we've both seen it before. Those people squirm when you tell them things like, I'm actually looking for the truth. There was actually a guy who told Matt that it was incredibly transphobic of him to say, you know, I'm just trying to figure out the truth. I want to know what the actual facts are. He called him out for saying that and would not answer his question, what is a woman? The film takes a decidedly Roger and me approach to answering its titular question, finding the answer as elusive as Moore did General Motors CEO Roger Smith. I'm not familiar with that movie. Unfortunately, that one doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I would very much recommend everyone watch this and make their own decisions. That's a very good review. He liked it, but he said everyone else check it out. Matt Walsh's elementary question leads to a larger, disturbing series. Yes, indeed it does. So anyone who doesn't have gender in their name thought the movie was great, including a huge percentage of the audience, which is fantastic. Very happy to see that. If you guys haven't seen What is a Woman, they are leaving it up on Twitter for everyone to watch for free. And I really recommend it. It's actually awesome. And don't get me wrong, I fully agree with Matt on like 90% of things. He's a little bit too harsh and a little too disagreeable in some ways for me. I don't think he's going to convince everyone with that behavior. But I do think that he is the right person for the job because he is so able to keep such a flat, solid poker face and just ask incredibly simple, incredibly relevant questions that people apparently cannot answer. Absolutely wild. So definitely go check it out. That's on the Daily Wire's Twitter page. All of the Daily Wire hosts have retweeted it. Good stuff. Really good stuff. It's an hour and a half. It's free. Watch it while you do other stuff. All right, we have good news on the YouTube front. YouTube changes misinformation policy and will allow content creators to say widespread fraud, oh boy, this is a test, occurred in elections. This is something we were always very careful about over on Timcast IRL. And it was very hard, and it kind of made me feel dishonest. It was really, really tough to put this front up and be like, okay, well, that didn't really happen, and also we can't say that, otherwise we'll lose the ability to speak at all, and that's how they get you to censor yourself. You have to be quiet, or else you won't be able to say anything at all on this platform that has huge reach, especially once you reach 1 million subscribers. That's a huge number, right? That's not something you're going to be ready to give up willingly, so I can't help feeling that YouTube is going to continue to kind of use this tack, even though this one is kind of being let up. I remember they let up a lot of the COVID vaccine stuff too. I don't know if they're ever going to let up the misgendering stuff. Probably not. That's what I most recently was censored for on this channel. They actually took a video down outright saying that I was being hateful toward someone who shall remain nameless, but whose initials are DM, and who got Bud Light in trouble. Let's read a little bit. YouTube will no longer remove content on its platform that says widespread voter fraud happened during the 2020 election and other U.S. elections, in a move that is likely to have consequences for the 2024 presidential campaign, according to a report from Axios. The video platform's policy reversal comes as the 2024 presidential primaries heat up. Former President Donald Trump, who leads Republican primary polling, continues to challenge the results of the 2020 election, claiming widespread fraud took the election away from him and put President Biden in the White House. 2 years ago, tens of thousands of video removals, and one election cycle later, we recognized it was time to reevaluate the effects of this policy on today's changed landscape, YouTube said in a statement, according to Axios. Correction, YouTube. You actually realized that this was an actual threat to the actual rule of law, and it made you feel a little bit guilty. So no one held you accountable. You just kind of came around on your own terms after you took a self-admittedly tens of thousands of videos down for saying this supposedly haram statement. Wow. We really need to hold these platforms accountable. We need to use alternative platforms. That's part of the reason that we are dual streaming on Rumble too. So if you want to migrate the heck over to Rumble, I'm behind it 100%. Just make sure you subscribe to me over there too. Lots of really good creators are already over there. They have a lot going on. They have a lot of videos, good stuff. They're also based down in Florida, so no state is going to intervene and tell them they can't let people speak freely. Nuts. With that in mind, and with 2024 campaigns well underway, we will stop removing content that advances false claims that widespread fraud, errors, or glitches occurred in 2020 and other past U.S. presidential elections. That's right, it was any historical election that might have been changed by some form of fraud. Really, really interesting policy. YouTube said it carefully deliberated before making the surprising change to its policy, but did not provide specific details on what caused the big tech company to reverse course. I would love to have an insider in YouTube. I really would. It would be awesome. Adrian Curry's over on Rumble. Awesome. She says, I got all these open on one screen. LL, me too. It's taking up a huge chunk of my screen. I have no room for anything else. It is wild, but it is worth it to me to be supporting a parallel platform. I think it's a really positive move. The Republican Party is divided on Trump's denial of the 2020 election results, with many arguing it's time to move on from the past and focus on how the party can win future elections. I am one of those people because we're 3 years out and we can't go back in time. And I do think that the 2020 election, something was definitely up. But I also know, and I think Mick Mulvaney was right when he mentioned this, Donald Trump is a participation magnet. He gets people fired up to vote for him and against him. And this is something that Tim noted like over a year ago too. He said Donald Trump was unelected. People went out because they wanted to vote against him. So he really got people moving. It just wasn't in the direction he had hoped. And I certainly think that is a big factor too. And I think that could easily happen again. And there haven't been changes made to make our election system more secure. So it's possible we just end up with Joe Biden for another 4 years. So that's great. Really excited for that possibility. YouTube, which was bought out by Google in 2006, said it will continue to stifle content it deems election misinformation, which includes videos aiming to mislead voters about the time, place, means, eligibility requirements, false claims that could materially discourage voting, including those disputing the validity of voting by mail, content that encourages others to interfere with democratic processes. So we'll see if they let us get away with this video, but I wanted to mention that because I thought it was interesting. All right, you guys, we have the MLB. We have some positive news on the culture war front, but I'm not sure if this is related to any kind of conservative action. Let's unpack it with Outkick, whom we love. MLB quietly removes Pride logo from socials. This was really interesting. MLB may have sensed a change in the political winds. Like a vast majority of modern corporations, Major League Baseball is usually eager to shore up its progressive credentials. As they do most years, MLB changed its logo on June 1st to celebrate Pride Month with a current version of LGBTQ plus flag as the background. But after just one day up, the league's social media accounts it quietly disappeared. Instead replaced by the traditional MLB logo after just a day on Facebook and Twitter. And Wokeness tweets, wow, the MLB just quietly removed their LGBTQ plus Pride logo. It's only June 2nd, guys. I kind of feel like we're winning. But there's possibly another explanation for this. So here we see, one day ago, we have the rainbow flag, and today we have just the ordinary flag. League is celebrating Lou Gehrig Day on Friday, June 2nd, which could have influenced their decision. But given the increased pushback from many fans to what they view as excessive Pride celebrations, it could also have been a calculated choice from Major League Baseball. It could also be at least partially related to widespread anger and frustration toward the LA Dodgers for their offensive decision-making. If you guys will recall, they chose to bring in the Satanic Nun drag group instead of just any one of, I'm sure, thousands upon thousands of other drag groups in the city of Los Angeles. It had to be drag nuns in a heavily Hispanic, heavily Catholic city of millions upon millions of people. That was a tactical error, I'm pretty sure. So that might have been a big mistake for them. MLB logo change may signal changing of the political guard. The Dodgers have created a firestorm of controversy inside the game for its blatantly anti-Catholic stance. Given several players have spoken out against the team's disastrous choices, MLB may have decided to limit its Pride celebrations. That would be freaking wise. And not just to limit it, but to keep it limited in the future too, because this is not over. And it will not be over after this year, I am sure of it. We are changing people's minds and we are convincing them of the truth of our statement. And when they bring kids into it, it's really darn easy to do. They make our job easy. The league, like most corporations, has been rapidly moving left. Most notably, this manifested itself with Rob Manfred caving to liberal activists and moving the All-Star game out of Atlanta. There's nothing wrong with a league posting a pride flag or celebrating a specific day, but many fans and players have felt that some specific celebrations have been targeted against those with sincerely held religious beliefs. Of course, they mentioned Target and Bud Light have learned that there are consequences for going too far with political activism. Maybe MLB is worried about suffering some of the same fate. Entirely possible. The last I saw, Anheuser-Busch had lost $27 billion over that one activist they brought in to talk about their Bud Light. All right, you guys, here's some more good news on this front. Here we are out of the DoD. Drag show canceled at Nevada Air Force Base by Pentagon officials. Joint Chiefs of Staff General Mark Milley was reportedly visibly angry about the decision to host drag show on a military base. That's very interesting. I would like to know more. Go away, ad. That's annoying. I don't like just a news ad placement. Leaders of the Department of Defense canceled a drag show that was set to occur earlier this week at an Air Force base in Nevada. Air Force leaders reportedly approved the show that was meant to celebrate Pride Month, but Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin and the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Mark Milley, shot it down. So this came straight from the top. This came from basically from the Biden administration. The officials said that the Pentagon cannot fund drag shows on bases, and it will have to either cancel or be moved off the base, according to NBC News. A U.S. official and defense official reported that Milley was visibly angry about the decision to host the drag show on the base. Consistent with Secretary Austin's congressional testimony, the Air Force will not host drag events at its installations or facilities. Commanders have been directed to either cancel or relocate these events to an off-base location, Air Force officials said when asked about the event. That makes sense. Last month, Florida GOP Rep. Matt Gaetz submitted a letter to Austin and Milley that claimed 6 other drag shows or events were approved by the U.S. military to hold on bases. Wild. I am honestly incredibly pleased to see that even the Biden administration cannot condone this stuff too much. So hopefully that's a step in the right direction, but let's see what else is going on with the military. Navy drives pride posts photos on social media accounts. How interesting. Do you guys remember the Navy's ad about that cross-dressing dude who they were trying to push right before Pride Month? Really, really interesting. Wondering if that's related to this. There was just a very loud clap of thunder that kind of caught my attention. Forgive me. The Navy's Instagram account at one point featured a plane with a rainbow wake in a post, but that has since been removed. Good. The U.S. Navy has dropped Pride-related posts and photos from its social media accounts, but has not specified why. On Twitter, this is also sourced from End Wokeness. So if you don't follow End Wokeness on Twitter, they are a great follow. They have high engagement and they have really high quality stuff if you want to keep up on the culture wars. On Twitter, the U.S. Navy account's background photo featured a maritime vessel and aircraft leaving wakes of rainbows and featured the word pride several times in different colors. The account currently features the images of an aircraft carrier. Smart. The Navy's Instagram account at one point featured a plane with a rainbow wake in a post, but that has since been removed, according to The Hill. I wonder if Mark Milley and Lloyd Austin woke up to the fact that this is happening right under their noses, and they're like, no, we're not doing this. We're already having enrollment or enlistment issues. We need to stop this. People aren't interested in this. Your basic white man isn't, first of all, interested in being told that he's horrible and terrible and there's no way he can absolve himself from being white. And also that he needs to kowtow to every conceivable victim group during Pride Month. That's absolutely insane. You're not going to be able to pump up enlistment with those ideas. So hopefully that was their thinking. All business. It is what it is. We need people in the military. I'm glad they got rid of it. The U.S. Navy posted graphics in support of the start of Pride Month to honor the service commitment and sacrifice of the LGBTQ plus service members and personnel who volunteer to defend our country, read the statement. As we do with all Defense Equal Opportunity Management Institute observance months, we will look for additional opportunities to celebrate the diversity and strength of our sailors, please. Members of the LGBTQ plus community serve their country, fully contribute to the DoD mission, and deserve a welcoming environment which enables them to reach their full potential. Blah, blah, blah. Clap, trap. I don't love it. Yeah, so this is End Wokeness. This is the tweet. Fascinating. The U.S. Navy quietly removed their LGBTQ plus pride banner. Oh, look at that. Huh. I wonder if this was turning off enlistment. In fact, let's see if we can find anything about that. How can we search this so it comes up right? Political correctness, military enlistment down. Is there a link? So the Wall Street Journal in 2022, our military is drowning in political correctness. U.S. military isn't a venue for social experiments. That's fair. U.S. military has a politics problem. Yep. Yep. Army accused. Okay, this is from 2018. That's not very interesting. Yeah, but this is something they've been working on for a long time, to be fair. Let's go to the news section, see if we find anything actually new. Got to change the recency. All right, we're going to sort by date. Comedian Russell Peters, blah, blah, blah. Army's recruitment shortage. Okay, so MSNBC, whom we know is left-wing apparatchik, is saying the Army's recruitment shortage isn't because of wokeness. Okay, if you say so, yeah. And then the Wall Street Journal, of course, says our military is, in fact, drowning in political correctness. So that was super interesting. I thought those two were really fascinating because I view it as positive, but we also don't know why they got rid of those parts of it. So I'm really interested to learn more. All right, we're going to look at this one story out of Washington, D.C., and we're going to discuss James Comer winning against Christopher Wray. Very exciting stuff. And then I'm going to call it a night because I'm falling asleep and we got to do a bunch of moving tomorrow. It's going to be great. So let's read this story. Exclusive. Children's choir director responds after Capitol Police claim they did not stop kids singing the national anthem. Very interesting story. Very curious to see what they come up with. Footage shows a Capitol Police officer directing someone to interrupt a children's choir singing the national anthem in the U.S. Capitol. But the police claim that they did not stop the singing. These kids are absolutely adorable. They're probably like 10 to 12 years old. Really, really cute, dressed up in their nicest dress clothes, with their standing there awkwardly. I'm sure they were quite cute when they were singing. The Rushing Brook Children's Choir, just before they started singing the National Statutory Hall in the U.S. Capitol on Friday, May 26th. The man who conducted the choir that day tells the Daily Signal that the Capitol Police claim is an outright lie, which I would believe after January 6th. I was shocked, I was dismayed, I was stunned. David Rosbach, the founder and director of the Rushing Brook Children's Choir, told the Daily Signal of the incident, which took place Friday, May 26th. I couldn't believe that it was happening. They would stop the national anthem of all songs. He spoke with the Daily Signal on Friday, June 2nd, describing the events of 1 week ago. He said that he'd secured permission from 3 congressional offices for the choir to sing in the Capitol. He said South Carolina Republican Reps William Timmons and Joe Wilson had provided documents giving permission, as had the office of House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. None of the offices responded to the Daily Signal's request for comment from the story. Micah Ray, founder and principal of the Ray Group and organizer of the trip, told the Daily Signal that a Wilson staffer called McCarthy's office confirming that the choir had permission to sing. Nonetheless, the Capitol Police interrupted the performance. Shortly before the choir started singing the national anthem, Andrew Tremmel, the visitor operations manager at the Architect of the Capitol, temporarily stopped them from singing. When Ray told Tremmel the congressional offices had granted permission, he talked in his earpiece and told the choir that they could start singing. The children's choir, based in Greenville, South Carolina, had toured Williamsburg, Virginia, before coming to Washington, D.C. to tour key historical and governmental sites. The pinnacle of the trip would be a performance in National Statutory Hall. Statuary. I can't read. It's not statutory. That's not what we want. Rosbach told the Daily Signal that the choir planned to sing 5 songs: The Star-Spangled Banner, America the Beautiful, My Country 'Tis of Thee, I Bought Me a Cat by Aaron Copland, and Love Divine, All Love's Excelling. Sounds like a nice little set of songs. Video of the event shows the choir singing the Star-Spangled Banner, but it also shows Rosbach, the conductor, cut the singers off before they could finish the 4th verse of the song. He cut them off because a female Capitol Police officer had directed a congressional staffer to immediately stop the singing, he told the Daily Signal. This is a tweet from Tyler O'Neill, whom I'm not familiar with. The Rushing Brook Children's Choir sang the national anthem in Statuary Hall. A Capitol Police officer stopped them mid-song. Capitol Police claim they didn't stop the choir. The choir director told us the whole story in an exclusive interview here. Oh, he wrote this piece. Duh. My bad. Not real familiar with the Daily Signal. Rosbach said the female police officer insisted the performance is considered a demonstration and that demonstrating in the U.S. Capitol is banned. She later said some people were offended, though Rosbach doubted her claim. Very likely, the only people that would be offended by this are actually people in the Biden administration. He said the officer could not have heard from people who claimed to be offended because her time was consumed with us. The Capitol Police contested his claims. Recently, somebody posted a video of a children's choir singing in the Star-Spangled Banner in the U.S. Capitol building and wrongfully claimed we stopped the performance because it might offend someone, the Capitol Police told the Daily Signal in an email statement. Here's the truth. Demonstrations and musical performance are not allowed in the U.S. Capitol. Of course, because the singers in the situation were children, our officers were reasonable and allowed the children to finish their beautiful rendition of the Star-Spangled Banner, the police statement added. Oh, okay. The congressional staff member who was accompanying the group knew the rules, yet lied to the officers multiple times about having permission from various offices. I feel like this would be pretty simple for them to figure out, don't you? But we know that the Capitol Police are insanely incompetent, incredibly incompetent, incredibly untrustworthy, and they always have been. That is absolutely irrefutably wrong. That is a bold-faced lie. Ray, the man who organized the trip, told the Daily Signal. You can see clearly in the video they literally stopped him before they finished singing the Star-Spangled Banner. Wild. She did everything she could to stop us and not let us continue singing, period. The whole thing is a lie. Capitol Police treat us like we're some Antifa demonstrators, like little 7-year-old kids. No, they don't treat you like Antifa demonstrators, because they would allow Antifa demonstrators to do whatever the heck they wanted, anywhere they wanted to, and just look the other direction. Ray Rasbach also condemned the Capitol Police statement. That is not true. He did not lie to anybody, the director said of the congressional staffer. I did not hear her say that they lied to us, and they did not lie to us. He said the female officer put her hand down very suddenly, directing the staffer to go shut them down. After the choir stopped singing, Rasbach spoke to the female officer. He said he asked her, "How do you think this is going to affect all these children? Their first time visiting the Capitol, and they have this disappointment." He paraphrased her response. She shrugged her shoulders, saying they sounded beautiful, but they can go outside and sing. Children singing the national anthem in their capital is not a threat to anyone, Rasbach said. Both Ray and Rasbach countered the claim that the musical performances in the Capitol are banned. He highlighted that videos of Sean Fucht singing in the U.S. Capitol on February 1st and on March 10th. Ray noted that a group of 80 pastors sang at the Capitol Rotunda on March 29th. Wow, so they had evidence of other people singing in the Capitol Rotunda, but these kids were not allowed to do so. And it does sound to me like people possibly in the administration were in fact offended by the content of their songs, i.e. the national anthem. Oh, nice. Interesting. Oh, no, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this with you, Fox News. All right, we're not doing this. I really, really hate Fox because they force you to disable the ad blocker. Really annoying. But yes, other people sing, and not only do they sing religious songs in the Capitol Rotunda. So I'm going to keep track of this story because I think it's super interesting. It just speaks volumes about the people who are supposed to be leading us. It's nuts. It really is. It's everything that my parents said would happen, that I did not believe them. I was like, you're a bunch of old fuddy-duddies. You don't know what you're talking about. And they're like, fine, we'll see what happens. And it took longer than I thought it would. Over the course of my lifetime, it has gotten absolutely nuts. So here we go. All right, St. Miles, thank you very much for the super chat. $10 for Dippin' Dot treats. Wow, we really do appreciate that. I bought Dot some bubbles that supposedly taste like maple bacon, and both of them really like them a lot. They're a huge hit with both of them. They love the bubbles. They don't understand them. They chase them. It's really adorable. I have to see if Andy will record a video, or I can record a video of him and them playing with them. Really, really cute stuff. Thank you so much for making that possible. St. Miles says, not able to tip on Rumble. I'm very sorry to hear that. All right, you guys, let's read this last story, and then I'm out of here because I'm about to pass out. Got up super early this morning because we had an ultrasound, which was super fun. They measured everything. Everything looks good, normal, and dandy. We did not learn the gender, but they did check that all out and said everything looks good. Baby has all the required parts to live a normal human life. So let's read this one real quick, and then we will wrap it. Comer wins. FBI relents and agrees to deliver subpoenaed memo alleging Biden bribery to Capitol. Really interesting. I'm looking forward to this. I love this kind of story. I love a happy ending. FBI Director Christopher Wray was facing potential contempt vote when the deal was struck. Facing a potential contempt of Congress vote, FBI Director Christopher Wray relented and has agreed to bring a subpoenaed document from the Biden family investigation to Capitol Hill for lawmakers to inspect on Monday, House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer announced on Friday. Good. Good. I'm glad. The document in question, an FD 1023, contains uncorroborated allegations that an informant provided the FBI in June 2020, alleging Joe Biden, when he was vice president, was engaged in a bribery scheme to change U.S. policy in return for $5 million to his family's businesses, lawmakers have said. Congress was alerted to the document by an FBI whistleblower who raised concerns the allegations were never fully investigated. Comer and Senator Chuck Grassley of Iowa demanded to see the document, and Comer followed with a subpoena. As recently as Wednesday, Wray indicated he would not turn over the document in compliance with the subpoena, but would let lawmakers come read it at the FBI. But a deal was struck late Thursday for the FBI to bring the document to the Capitol, officials said. Chairman Comer will receive a briefing from the FBI and review the document Monday, the committee told Just the News in a statement. Chairman Comer has been clear that anything short of producing the FD 1023 form to the House Oversight Committee is not compliance with subpoena. The unclassified record contains pages of details that need to be investigated further by the House Oversight Committee. In a statement to Just the News, the FBI said it wanted to accommodate Congress while also protecting sensitive, confidential human source information that is often recorded in memos even before it is corroborated. Director Wray offered to provide the committee's chairman and ranking member an opportunity to review information responsive to the subpoena in a secure manner to accommodate the committee while protecting the confidentiality and safety of sources and important investigative sensitivities. The Bureau said, the FBI has continually demonstrated its commitment to working with the committee to accommodate its requests, from scheduling briefings and calls to now allowing the chair to review information in person. The FBI remains committed to cooperating with the committee in good faith, blah, blah, blah. Don't believe them. Don't believe them. Not at all. I don't believe anything the FBI says at this point. I've seen them do way too many shady things. The Bureau also cautioned that the FBI 1023 forms are used by FBI agents to record unverified reporting by a confidential human source, documenting the information is not validated, establish its credibility, or weigh it against other information verified by the FBI. Okay, so put that disclaimer on it and let the committee see it. This is insane to me that it had to get this far before they did anything with that information, but it's an allegation that this was a deal made with the Biden family to benefit the Biden family businesses. So let's brush up on our remembrances of this particular piece. Biden Inc. Dun dun dun. How middle-class Joe's family cashed in on whatever, they changed the headline. Over the decades in office, middle-class Joe's family fortunes have closely tracked to his political career. Of course they have. Of course they have. They've taken so many bribes. Part of Hunter's role was to use his dad's influence to peddle special favors to foreign countries. We had Ukraine, we had China, we had false companies in a bunch of different places. We also had Jim Biden, who was doing similar things. This is from before the 2020 election. This is from August 2019. We knew this and no one cared. And Joe Biden won anyway. And I am so glad this is coming out now. We're going to have to do a deep dive on this. We'll probably do this behind the paywall on Locals and really take apart this article and see if we can confirm this stuff now that we have like 4 years of data to back it up or to disprove it, and see what we come up with. But I personally believe in my heart of hearts why I think this is exactly why Biden has refused to do things like remove us from the WHO, why they have kowtowed so much to China, why they refuse to close the border, all sorts of different things. It's very, very clear that blackmail could come from any country at any time, and the Biden family is incredibly susceptible to it because they've done nothing but peddle influence over the course of the last 40 plus years. Guys, I'm very, very tired. It is a baby in there. I'm very excited to announce. Unfortunately, the ultrasound pictures are in the car, and I didn't have a chance to bring them in before we chatted tonight, but we got great pictures. We saw the little profile, which was a lot of fun. We have a flash dance moment where the baby's like leaning back like this. I thought it was hilarious. Andy was like, don't make that comparison. But I was like, it looks like they're dancing. Whoever they are, they're very dramatic. I would not be at all surprised if that were the case. But they're moving and shaking in there, and I feel them just a little bit. It's really, really fun. So that's good times. Thank you guys so much for joining me as I show off my succulent. I'm glad you guys appreciate them as well. Oh, let's see. Wasn't it like about 30 plus countries? Asks two ladies. Not sure. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a ton of influence peddling here. This is probably the most corrupt administration we've ever had. And I say that not just as someone who is fighting critical race theory and all this other stuff with every fiber of my being, but with someone who can actually see actual corruption for what it is. And I would call it out if it were coming from the Trump administration. I would call it out anywhere I saw it. I would call it out on any side of the aisle. It needs to be called out. We do not tolerate corruption, except we do. It's not good, but here we are. Hopefully this House committee review of this document will make a difference moving forward for sure. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining me. Congratulations on making it through this short week. Thankfully it was short. Hopefully you guys will have a great time this weekend. It is truly warming up, at least where we are. We are enjoying it, but also sweating a lot. Trying to make sure we walk dot when it's cool outside, either early in the morning or late at night. Trying to make sure we stay cool. You guys do too. Stay cool, stay hydrated, stay safe, stay well, stay out of Target. Remember. All right, bye guys. Till next time. See ya. how's it going?